Hi everybody, welcome to today's presentation. I am the moderator for this session. My name is Taylor and I will be introducing Rachel. Rachel is a disability advocate for the Disability Law Center of Virginia, where she has worked for 7 years. She has participated in cases involving vocational service, pre-employment technology services, and assisted technology. She was born and raised in Richmond, and where she also began her journey as a self-advocate. She had the privilege of working with both Virginia Board for People with Disability and the Partnership for People with Disability in her 10-year career as a self-advocate working to help people who have disabilities. During this session, there will be a live Q&A. However, we ask that you hold all questions to the very end. If you have any questions that are very, very important, please feel free to put them in the chat. I will be monitoring the chat. Please have your cameras off and please put yourself on mute while Rachel is presenting. Thank you so much for coming today, and now here's Rachel.
Good afternoon. Thanks, Taylor, for that great introduction. Also, if people need captions, feel free to go to, there should be a button that says live captions where you can select to show subtitles. So if people need captions, please feel free to use those. As Taylor said, my name is Rachel Loria. I'm a disability rights advocate at Disability Law Center of Virginia, and assistive technology is one of my huge passions. So I'm excited to present to you today a little bit about what assistive technology is. Then we will do a demonstration of some of the assistive technology, and then we'll also talk a little bit about some funding sources for AT. So let's start with what is assistive technology. So assistive technology is basically any kind of device or piece of equipment or product or system. You can get it off the shelf, you can make it yourself. It's anything that's used to increase or maintain.
Also, I think everybody should at least be aware of our history, because when I spoke with Kim and some of the others before, they were
very good. It's either used commercially, it can be bought off the shelf, it can be modified, it can be customized, and it's used to increase, maintain, or improve the functional capabilities. This definition is from the IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, so it clarifies child, but AT can be used for anybody who has a disability, and AT is meant to make that person's life easier, and it's meant to make that person a little bit more independent. So let's learn a little bit more about assistive technology. It is customizable, and when I do the demonstration, I'm going to show you guys a couple of different ways to customize AT to make it represent you more or represent you better. It doesn't have to be high-tech. Today, when we do the demonstration, you're going to see some high-tech assistive technology and some lower-tech assistive technology. If you're in, this is really an important point, if you're in school and using the assistive technology as a part of your education, talk with your school team to see if that's something that they can help to provide. They are obligated to give you reasonable accommodations. So if you're using that assistive technology for your education, talk with your school team. If you are working and need assistive technology for your job, and you're currently working with vocational rehabilitation agencies like the Department for Aging and Rehabilitative Services or the Department for the Blind and Vision Impaired, talk with your counselor. They may also be able to assist in funding devices if it relates to your work and it's in your work goal. So now I'm going to scoot the table back a little bit, and I'm going to show you guys some examples of assistive technology. All right.
Rachel, can we just request that you stop sharing your screen so we can see your big
Yes.
picture? Thank you.
Just about to do that. Okay. So like we talked about just a minute ago, assistive technology does not have to be high tech. It doesn't have to be incredibly expensive. These are just some simple sunglasses. One of my clients used sunglasses as an assistive technology when he was walking in the hallway because it helped him to focus himself and not be overstimulated. Magnification devices like magnifying glasses. Also just a really simple assistive technology. Another option would be large print. This is a large print book. And if you need it larger, you can use anything like a magnification device to make it larger. These are some really popular ones right now. These are just some stress toys, some fidgets that are really inexpensive. And if people need this type of thing to refocus and kind of become less stimulated during the day, this could be assistive technology. This is an adapted plate and an adapted bowl. When we, you can see that the lid on the bowl is a little bit higher so that as a person is learning to feed themselves, it's less difficult to get food where it doesn't need to be. Also, when we bought this off of Amazon, we realized that the bowl was moving around a lot. And we got just a piece of material that keeps carpets in place, put it underneath the bowl, and it makes it less difficult for the bowl. It makes it easier for a person who has motor difficulties to feed themselves because the bowl doesn't move around as much. These are adapted utensils, adapted fork, adapted spoon, and an adapted knife. These are helpful if a person has motor issues, has difficulty feeding themselves. They feel a little different in your hands. They're also weighted, so it makes it easier to control the utensil. So it's important to understand that assistive technology can be used not just in the school system, not just when you're working, but also in the community. These are large print playing cards. And one other thing that's pretty cool about them is that they have Braille on them. So if a person is of low vision, they can still participate in games and participate with their community by using something like this. This is also an adapted card holder. So if a person has difficulty holding all of their cards, they can put it in something like this to help them motor-wise. This is one that everybody likes to use when we go on displays. This is the grabber, which doesn't seem to want to cooperate today. See what we can do with this. So this is a grabber. If you can't reach something, it helps you to be able to reach it. So if I'm trying to get my speaker, this would help me be able to reach it and bring it to me. This is another cool one. This is an adapted house key. So what it is it's a regular key that you just put into a contraption like this, which we got online, very inexpensive. You take your regular key, you put it in here, you clip it into this little hole, and you have larger surface area to turn a key. So if a person has motor issues and has difficulty turning their key, this might be something that would be really useful and really inexpensive. Social stories is another good assistive technology to think about. Social stories can help a person kind of prepare for something or anticipate something. This is one that talks about having tough feelings and sorting through those tough feelings with coping mechanisms. So with this, we use some picture exchange communication as well, which we're going to learn about in just a minute. If a person is feeling mad, they can take the picture and they can show whoever they're with that they're feeling that way. And it also talks about coping strategies. They can decide that they want to grab a stress ball and they can go and show you that picture to show you what they want to do. I'm going to go a little bit more high tech. This is picture exchange communication system, like we just talked about a minute ago. If a person wants a piece of pizza, they can pull this off of the book and go and give that to whoever they're with, a caregiver, a teacher, a parent, to show them this is what they want. And these books can come with all sorts of different pictures. This kit that we got came with pictures of sensory items, pictures of daily living tasks, pictures of technology, pictures of toys and books, pictures of food, lots of different items so that they can choose how they want to communicate. This is a GoTalk. This one is a little bit older. This is the GoTalk 9. And what this is a communication device. So people can talk about what they want or what they like. I like books. I want to be a librarian. So they can talk about what their goals are and what they like. And this is just kind of a little bit more of a high-tech device, but still a pretty simple device for that. And one cool thing about this device is you can record your own voice into it. So if you don't have to pick a computerized voice. If that voice doesn't represent you, you can record your own voice. You can ask someone to record a voice. We use this specific one with a client who could speak, but sometimes in higher stress situations froze up. So this would help him to communicate what his likes were, what his interests were, and what he wanted to do as a career. But you can pick your own pictures that represent you. You can pick your own voice that represents you, and you don't have to pick the computerized voices that are on a lot of this assistive technology that people don't like because it doesn't represent them. We're going to go further into that in just a minute. So this is an iPad, which I'm sure many of you have seen before. I'm actually going to move the computer closer to me so that you can see the pictures on this. So this is an iPad. There's lots, people have seen iPads, but a lot of people don't know about what some of the apps are that are on the iPads that can assist in communication and also assist in sensory and de-escalation. So let's look at the sensory apps really quick. This one is called Fluidity, and it looks like it's just night stars on the app, but when you touch the screen, you can see the light track your finger. And that can be really helpful for students if they are overstimulated. It can sometimes help them to calm down. Okay, we're done with you right now. Thank you. This is another one. A lot of sensory. Another app on here is Social Stories, like you saw in the binder. They have an app with social stories, where you can also record your own voice.
We will also talk about where I want to live or who I want to live with. I want to live in a house with friends and support of my choosing.
So this is prepping a student for an IEP meeting where they were talking about transition planning, where he wanted to make it clear to his team that he wanted to live in a place with support of his choosing and not in a place where people were picked for him. So that is the social story app. Last one that I'm going to show you is, so we don't run low on time, is the GoTalk app. We saw the physical GoTalk there. This is a GoTalk app. So if a student of mine used this, we put the same communication board on his iPad, so he could tell people if he was hurt, where he was hurting, head, and what he wanted people to do about it. Call home. And he was able to use that at school to better communicate his needs. So I'm going to reshare my screen, and we're going to finish up talking about a couple of different funding options. Okay, so there's lots of different funding options for assistive technology. I know a little bit about some funding options that I'm going to share with you guys. If you're on a waiver through Medicaid, such as the DD waiver or the CCC Plus waiver, you might get funding for assistive technology. To find out more about those waivers or the funding for assistive technology, you can go to the DMAS site, or you can go to the ARC of Northern Virginia site. They both have really good information out there about assistive technology and funding for assistive technology. Another organization is the Assistive Technology Loan Fund Authority. And what they do is they can provide low interest loans for assistive technology in Virginia. They help to make adaptive equipment a possibility for those who might not otherwise be able to get it. And their website is here. You can look for more information about them if that's something you're interested in. Another one is the Virginia Assistive Technology System, VATS. They work to ensure that that Virginians of all ages and abilities can get the appropriate and affordable assistive technology. And they also have an exchange and reuse center, which is really helpful. If you're done with a certain device and you want to take it there, they can refurbish it and get it ready for somebody else to use it. And they also have a loaning library. Loaning libraries are also really important because you can try a device and see if it's right for you. And if you have a team that's helping you look for assistive technology, like a speech pathologist or school staff, they may also be able to get technology through VATS to show you and let you try, so that it's something that you can decide if it works best for you. Virginia Department for Deaf and Hard of Hearing, VDDHH. They help people who are deaf or hard of hearing or have difficulty speaking to get assistive technology. There's qualifications for that. You have to be deaf, hard of hearing, or speech disabled. You have to have a combination of hearing or vision loss. You can go to their website and talk with them. It's through their technology assistance program. And they, I'm sure, love to speak with you if you think that they may be able to help you. The last one is Children's Assistive Technology Services, CATS. CATS provides for reuse of pediatric rehabilitation equipment and assistive technology throughout Virginia. And they serve as a no-cost resource for children with disabilities who need equipment. They do really great work, and their website is here if it's something that you feel like could benefit you. As a reminder, one more time, remember that if you're a student in school, the school may be able to assist in funding for assistive technology. If you use vocational rehabilitation services like DARS or DBVI, they may also be able to assist you in paying for assistive technology if it relates to your work goals. There was a presentation recorded earlier this morning about vocational rehabilitation. So if that's something you're interested in, please go and look at the pre-recorded presentations from today and take a look at that. I want to thank everybody for attending. Thank you for your time and your attention. If you have questions, please feel free to ask them, and I will do my best to answer any questions. If you think of other questions after the presentation is done, you can always contact the Disability Law Center of Virginia by phone at 804-225-2042 or through our 1-800 number, 1-800-552-3962. I should have put it on here and I didn't, but you can go to our website, www.dlcv.org/get-help. And you can put in a request for help online if you do not want to call on the phone. But if you do call on the phone, we have our intake and referral specialist who will listen to your questions and route you to a subject matter expert who might be able to answer your questions. If you submit online, you will also be routed to a subject matter expert. So I'm going to stop share and open the floor to any questions.
Thank you so much, Rachel, for that first presentation. And just to let everyone know, someone put in the chat, dLCV put in the chat the website of where you can get help. Again, that's www.dclv.org/get-help. So
Please,
if you
guys have any questions, ask any questions you have. Don't be shy.
So Rachel, I have a question.
Sure.
Let me turn on my camera. So you talked a lot about vocational learning, and if you wanted to get assistance in your school, you can get it. My question would be, how would you go about that? Would the student request it or would the parent? Because I know at age 14, you can go to your IEP meeting by yourself.
Absolutely. And at age 14, you can also be receiving assistance through vocational rehabilitation as a student. So if it's a younger child and it's a parent who's having questions about assistive technology, you can talk with the IEP team, the 504 team, about if you feel like your child could benefit from assistive technology, have that conversation with the school. If it's something that you feel like you're getting a lot of pushback on, call the LCV. We may be able to provide you at least some information and maybe some assistance. If you are an adult that has finished school and you need assistive technology, if you are in college and if you have an open case with vocational rehabilitation agencies like DARS or like DBVI, Department for Aging and Rehabilitative Services, or the Department for the Blind and Vision Impaired, contact your counselor. Talk with your counselor about what assistive technology you think you need and how it would help you with your work. A lot of people don't understand that if you are a high school student and you have assistive technology provided by the school, a lot of the time when you finish high school, the school keeps that assistive technology. So it's important to start planning with vocational rehabilitation about assistive technology and about to see if that's something that could help you. I do see another question in the chat. I know sometimes folks are afraid of asking for assistive technology in fear of retaliation. Is there a way to prevent or provide reassurance? So are you, just to clarify, in school settings, in work settings? So in school settings, if you are afraid of retaliation, school and work, okay. So in school settings, if you feel like your child needs assistive technology and you're afraid of retaliation, there are advocates who may be able to go to meetings with you to help you to advocate for those assistive technology tools. And VDOE has a technology office as well, where they specialize in assistive technology and may also be able to help you kind of bridge that conversation. In terms of work, if you are fearing retaliation, if you need assistive technology and are fearing retaliation at work, you have a right to reasonable accommodation under Title I of the Americans with Disabilities Act. So if you are thinking that you are being retaliated at work for needing assistive technology, something that you can always talk with the Equal Employment Opportunities Commission, EEOC, and I don't have that link on me right now, but I can provide that in the chat. Or if you are working and you feel like you need assistive technology and you want to, if you have a vocational rehabilitation case open with DARS or DBVI, and you speak with them about assistive technology and they are not quite understanding what you need, not quite listening to what you need, that's a great time to call us, because we can sometimes help you to advocate for what you need through DR. Thank you for sharing the link to EEOC. That is for employment if you feel like you're being retaliated against based on your disability. Does that answer the question? Okay, great. Any other questions?
So, well, I'll give you a minute.
And please, if you're interested in VR, in vocational rehabilitation, listen to the session that was recorded this morning about pre-employment transition services for high school youth, because that kind of gives you an introduction to vocational rehabilitation as well. But they also provide services for adults after high school.
So, Rachel, I guess my question would be, what if a adult with a disability never had assistive technology before, never had an open case with dogs, never had an open case anywhere, but now in their working career, their manager is suggesting that they may need assistive technology? How would...
They're suggesting that they may need it?
Yes, like, because of their disability, it may help them do better with their job. How would that person go about that, because they never had any open case and never had assistive technology before?
So that would be a good time to reach out to us, to reach out to Disability Law Center Virginia. We can give them some options about funding for assistive technology, and also talk with them about what some options are for assistive technology. That would also be if they feel like DARS or DBVI may be able to help them with assistive technology. That might be a good time to contact DARS or to contact Department for Blind and Vision Impaired. And we can also try to, if people call us and ask, who is DARS, who is DBVI, we can connect you with the right office and give you the contact info for the right office that's closest to you. And Amanda wrote, you did good, thanks for helping me. Thanks for listening, Amanda, I appreciate it.
Okay, well, thank you all for coming. We will wrap up this session, and again, we appreciate everybody for coming.
Thank you so much.
The link to everything to dCLV
is in the chat.
Is in the chat, and the EEOC is in the chat.
Also in the chat. Yep.
But yeah, thank you for coming, and I hope that y'all enjoyed this session. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact Disability Law Center of Virginia. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you.